Picture an alien scout ship arriving to survey life on Earth. It isn't hunting for the smartest species, it doesn't care about brain size or tool use. It's just watching behavior, cataloging it, looking for patterns. And for most of the planet, the patterns hold. Predators hunt, prey flee, animals mate, sleep, and avoid becoming lunch. Then the scout finds us, and the notes stop making sense. It watches a creature hand a stranger a piece of colored paper in exchange for food it needs to survive. It watches thousands of that same creature sit silently in the dark, listening to an account of events that never happened, and weep. It watches one of them run into a burning building for a child that isn't its own. None of this fits the file. The scout wouldn't ask why humans are so intelligent. It would ask why humans are so strange. That question deserves an answer, because on paper, we shouldn't be strange at all. Strip away the clothes and the skyscrapers, and we are unremarkable mammals. We share about 98% of our DNA with chimpanzees. Our lungs work the same, our hearts pump the same, our skeletons follow the same blueprint as every other primate on the tree of life. For most of our history, we lived exactly like our cousins still do, foraging, hiding from leopards, sleeping when it got dark. If you only looked at our biology, you'd file us under medium sized, slow, bad night vision, unremarkable bite force. Nothing about our bodies predicts what we actually do with our lives. So the gap isn't in our anatomy, it's in our behavior. And it starts small enough to seem harmless. Every other animal eats its food exactly as it finds it. A wolf tears raw meat. A cow grinds raw grass. Humans are the only species that refuses to eat most of its food until it has been changed by fire first. And every other animal is afraid of fire. We're the one species that captures it, feeds it, and builds its entire schedule around keeping it alive. Over enough generations, this habit reshaped us. Our guts shrank, our jaws weakened. We became a species that can no longer survive on the raw diet every other primate eats without issue. We changed our own bodies with a habit. That's strange, but it's the mildest strangeness on the list. Language is stranger. A vervet monkey has a specific alarm call for a snake and a different one for an eagle, but it only makes that call when the threat is actually there. Its signals are tied to the physical world in front of it. Humans do something no other species does. We use language to talk about things that are not present and things that have never existed at all. Try saying this to a chimpanzee. The river spirit will curse anyone who fishes upstream. Even if it understood every word, the sentence would mean nothing to it. There is no spirit, there is no curse. Nothing there can be seen, smelled, or touched. And yet humans have organized entire economies, wars, and marriages around sentences exactly like that one. Which brings us to the strangest habit of all. We don't just invent things that aren't real. We agree, silently and collectively, to treat them as if they are. Pull a bill out of your wallet. It's a rectangle of cotton and ink worth nothing on its own. You can't eat it, a dog sniffing it finds nothing of interest, and yet you can hand it to a total stranger and they will give you groceries or a taxi ride or the keys to an apartment. Neither of you has any real reason to trust the other, except that you both believe in the same invisible thing. Money isn't a law of physics, it's a shared hallucination that a few billion people maintain together every single day without ever holding a meeting about it. Once you notice that pattern, you start seeing it everywhere. Watch how we treat our dead. A chimpanzee troop might sit near a dead member for a while, showing something like distress, and then move on. Humans dig a hole, lower a body into a box, carve a name into stone, and return years later to leave flowers on top of soil. There is no survival benefit to any of this. From a strict energy standpoint, it's a complete waste, and yet archaeologists have found deliberate burials, some with flowers and tools placed beside the body, dating back over 60,000 years. Every human culture ever studied does some version of this. We treat the dead as if part of them is still listening. We do something almost as strange with sound. A bird's song defends territory or attracts a mate. It's functional, and it stops once the job is done. A human will sit in a dark room, listen to a string quartet, and be reduced to tears by a sequence of vibrations that serves no survival purpose whatsoever. We spend fortunes on paintings that are just pigment on cloth, because looking at the right arrangement of color can rearrange something inside us. And then there's the strangest one, the one that should have gotten us killed as a species instead of made us dominant. We trust people we've never met. Put two unfamiliar alpha chimpanzees in the same enclosure, and they will likely try to kill each other. In the animal kingdom, cooperation almost always runs along lines of family or long, direct familiarity. Now picture a subway car at rush hour. Hundreds of strangers packed shoulder to shoulder, none of them related, most of them never to see each other again, and almost none of them attack one another. They follow rules written by people who died a century ago. They stop at a red light at 3 a.m. with no other car in sight. And some of them, if a fire broke out in that subway car, would risk their lives pulling a stranger toward the exit. No wolf pack does this for wolves outside the pack. No chimp troop does this for a rival troop. We do it constantly, and we barely notice we're doing it. So here's the puzzle. Evolution is supposed to be ruthless. It eliminates behavior that wastes energy or lowers your odds of passing on genes. Rituals for the dead, tears over music, trust in strangers, dying for an idea rather than a relative, every one of these should have been selected against millions of years ago. Instead, the species doing all of them took over the planet. Something about this irrational behavior must have been the opposite of a flaw. The likely answer is that our real advantage was never raw brain power. Drop a single unarmed human into the jungle against a jaguar, and the human loses almost every time. A big brain by itself doesn't win survival contests. It's expensive to run and dangerous to give birth to. What actually set us apart was our capacity to build shared imagined worlds, and to use those worlds to organize people who would otherwise have no reason to trust each other. A chimp troop tops out around 50 or so individuals before internal politics tear it apart. Humans, using nothing but a shared belief in a law, a currency, or a flag, can coordinate cities of 10 million strangers well enough to keep the lights on and the trains running. That reframes everything about how civilization actually got built. We didn't invent steel and concrete simply because we were clever enough. We invented them because a shared story, a nation, a company, a currency, could organize the labor of thousands of people who had never met and never would. Cities aren't built from muscle and tools alone. They're built from a story large enough for millions of strangers to believe at the same time. Which means we are not simply the animal that got smart. We are the animal that got strange in a very specific and very useful way. We are the only species on this planet that lives half in the physical world and half inside a world we invented together. And it's that second world, the one made of money and gods and nations and songs, that actually runs the show. If intelligent life exists somewhere else in the universe, we tend to assume it would look like us. Cities, laws, ships heading for the stars. But nothing about intelligence requires any of that. Nothing about being smart demands that a species weep at a violin, bury its dead with flowers, or hand a stranger a rectangle of paper in exchange for dinner. Those aren't the marks of intelligence in general. They're the specific, peculiar habits of one restless species of ape. So maybe the alien scout ship had it backwards from the start. It wasn't looking for the smartest animal on Earth. It should have been looking for the strangest one. And it would have found it staring right back through the window, wondering what the scout ship was.